How's it going, everybody? So let's continue on with Nebuchadnezzar being called to salvation as a what? As a lost sheep to a found sheep. Yeah, that's the ticket. Uh, I'm so tired, y'all. I really need to sleep 2 days in a row, like for 12 hours. That's what I need. That's what I need. We got to get caught up on some rest. And then Romans, I'm going to do that 12 through 20. We're on it. Good job. Good job. I love saying that to my students. Good job. Even if you just give a little bit of instruction or they need some help. Say, hey, I can't log into this or I can't get Wi-Fi. And when you fix it on their iPad or whatever and you hand it back to them, they say, okay, thank you. And you go, yep, good job. When it didn't call for good job, but you say it anyway, it's a reinforcement that they're doing good just by being a student, wanting to get their Wi-Fi going so they can study, blah, blah, just. And I used to really do it when I taught ESOL to adults, and a lot of them were from Haiti. They were always very thankful and appreciative. They'd say, hello, teacher, or goodbye, teacher, at the end of the night. Very polite, very respectful culture towards teachers, the Haitian culture. And so anytime they came to me needing anything, when I sent them back to their desk, I sent them back with good job, no matter what we talked about. Hey, teacher, I hate your guts. Bye bye. And just say, okay, I got you. Good job. No, they never said hate your guts, obviously. But you know what I'm saying, right? It's just your closing statement. Good job. And there's nothing wrong with that. All right, and let's go ahead on and throw it in the New Living also, just because. All right, Daniel. All right, then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar. I wonder if Daniel is traveling tonight on a plane. Do I now know the meaning of that? Because the plane or the jets represents the death to the Antichrist. Because in Donnie Darko, Donald's darkened right eye, it was a jet engine that killed Donnie in his bedroom at the end of the movie when they went back to the other alternative. And what all Donnie Darko was about was twin Trumps. One lived, one died. That's all it was. And the big date was October 2nd of Donnie Darko. And when you spell out October, SECOND, it matches Donald Trump, I believe, in this simple gematria. So, yep. And yep. And that's when he said he had the illness back in 2020, he and Melania, on October 2nd. So, yep. And yep. And then we know what brought down the twin Trumps on 9/11, the Jets. So Daniel is traveling tonight on a plane. The book of Daniel, the end times associated with airplane, jet, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I like it. Then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, to the pagans, Nebuchadnezzar saying, was absolutely jaw-dropping for 1 hour, and his thoughts really troubled him. The king spake and said to him, we're just going to say said to Daniel, don't let the dream or the interpretation trouble you. And then Daniel said, my lord, the dream is going to make those that hate you very happy. The interpretation thereof is going to make your enemies very happy. The tree that you saw, which grew which was strong, and the height thereof reached into heaven, and the sight thereof to all the earth, whose leaves were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and there was food for everybody, and fed the beasts and the wild fields, and the branches and the fowls of heaven had their habitation under your entire kingdom. This is you, O king. You're the one that grew strong, and your greatness has grown and has reached unto heaven, and your dominion is to the end of the earth, because you run the kingdom that runs the earth. Whereas the king and where you saw these angels come down from heaven saying, cut down the tree and destroy it, yet leave the stump of the roots thereof in the earth. Even with the band of iron of brass and the tender grass of the field, let it be wet with the dew of heaven till his portion be with the beasts of the field, till 7 times pass over him. See previous study, we told you what all that meant. This is the interpretation, O king. This is the decree from the Most High, which has come upon my lord the king. Okay. To be continued, good Lord willing. And continuing on in Romans 5, 12 through 20. Wherefore, as one man sinned, as by one man sinned entered into the world, Adam, and death by sin, so death passed upon all men, for all have sinned. For until this law sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed when there is no law. Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over them that had not sinned, after the similitude of Adam's transgression, who is that figure of whom that was to come, but not as the offense also is the free gift, salvation. For if through one offense of one many be dead, much more grace or favor of God, and the gift by grace or favor, which is by one man, Jesus Christ. Now, Adam and Jesus were both created by God. They did not come from the normal male sperm to womb birth. It was a God creation through and through. Now, Adam didn't come out of a womb. Jesus at least came out of a womb, but conceived by God. And not as it was by one that sinned, so is the gift for judgment. Yeah, I did finish that one, right? Have abound many. And not as it was by one that sinned, so is the gift for the judgment was by one to condemnation, but the free gift is of many offenses unto justification. If we want to understand, let's give it to you in the New Living. And the results of God's gracious gift is very from the result of that one man's sin. For Adam's sin led to the condemnation, but God's free gift to our being made right with God, even though we were guilty for many sins. For the sin of this one man, Adam, caused death to rule over many. Even greater is God's wonderful grace, favor to the sheep, and his gift of righteousness. For all who receive it, all sheep will, all that are under grace, from before the foundation of the world. For all who receive it will live in triumph over sin and death through this one man, Jesus Christ. Yes, Adam's one sin brings condemnation for everyone, but Christ's one act of righteousness, so it's an upside down reversal situation, of righteousness brings a right relationship with God and a new life for everyone. Because one person disobeyed God, many became sinners, but because one person obeyed God, many will be made righteous. God's law was given to all people. Remember, all gives way to a subset group. So let's go back to the King James. Moreover, the law entered that the offense might abound. But where sin abounded, grace did much more abound. Yep. The verse before it, for by one man's disobedience many were made sinners, so by the obedience of one shall many be made righteous. Moreover, the law entered that the offense might abound. But where sin abounded, grace did much more abound. So when the lost sheep is called and is now a found sheep, that grace is stronger than their previous sin because the Holy Spirit comes in and corrects them. Basically, is what all that's saying. I'm glad you're here. Love you very much. Ask questions anytime. That's what I'm here for.